Listen, Condoleezza Rice was on The View. She talked about a number of things. One of them was the January 6th incident at the Capitol, the insurrection, whatever you want to call it, trespassing, riot, whatever. I can tell you this, if a bunch of black people would have invaded the Capitol on January 6th, you wouldn't have been calling it an insurrection. You'd have called it, remember that time all those niggas got shot at the Capitol? Or, remember that time all them crazy ass black people ran up in the Capitol and got shot? Or, Bloody Wednesday. Yeah. Condoleezza Rice is handing out passes for January 6th like this. Hey, white guy, you got a pass? Sir, you have a pass? Excuse me, miss, white lady, you got a pass? How about you? You got a pass? Here goes another pass. Here goes another pass. Just handing out all these passes to white people for January 6th, knowing if black people make too much noise at a movie theater, we never hear the end of that shit. Never hear the end of it. Black people get shot in the street. They shot a guy 10 times in the back. Black people get mad and burn down a CVS. Never hear the end of it. These motherfuckers broke into the Capitol, hurt people, broke shit, stole shit. Black people can't even, clog up a street and not be called all types of crazy things. Your ass went into the Capitol and smeared feces on the walls and smoked weed in the... Jesus Christ. Condoleezza Rice is on The View talking about that. But I don't even want to talk about that part of it. What I thought was hilarious, and when I mean hilarious, I mean cool shit, she starts defending critics of critical race theory. Now, I've talked about critical race theory on this channel. Once again, not really something I've gone into depth about. But know this. Critical race theory is like anything else. When you start arguing about it, or when they argue about it on TV, they're not really arguing about the thing you think they're arguing about. Sort of like this. Remember Colin Kaepernick taking a knee? Remember that shit? Remember what it was about if you're black? You know what it was about? It was about police brutality, right? But what they make it about? They made it about you don't love the vets. You don't have respect for the vets. Shit like that. But that's not what it was about. It was about police brutality. Same thing with critical race theory. Same thing with this thing they're going on and on about. When you say critical race theory to me, all I'm thinking about is history. How black people got screwed over in this country. But what they're talking about is not that. They're talking about some crazy assignment like white kids. On a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you hate black people? Or white kids. And the white kid's like 6 and shit. Hey, white kid, how old are you? 6. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you hate your parents? Because they white. That's what they made this become. Now, I don't know anybody who thinks white kids should be given an exam that said, hey, white kids, hate your white self? Jump in front of a building or jump in front of a truck. No one. I don't care. Well, don't get me wrong. There's some black Israelites who might want that to be a real thing. But most people don't want that. What they want is for us to not create more racist white people. That's all we want. We want less racism. And we want you to recognize that racism exists as a real thing in America. But instead of that being the conversation, people like Condoleezza Rice have taken it and applied it to some weird hippies idea of torturing children. And that's not, so just know that when they talk about critical race theory, what you think or what they think or what the Republicans are saying and what reasonable people are saying, I don't even know what the Democrats are saying. I guess I kind of know. This shit gets word salady when people start breaking down different things. But as far as when I'm talking about it, all I'm responsible for is myself. And when I'm talking about it, I ain't talking about no torture chamber. All I'm talking about is somehow coming up with a way that we can say, hold up, America's racist as fuck. I got proof. 2% of 2% of black men are only 2% of teachers in America. 2%. Black people only 2% of doctors in America. Black people only 2% of lawyers at major law firms in America. So they always want to talk about slavery and talk about this shit, like talk about things that, oh, let's go back to 150 years. I could go right till yesterday and bring up shit that you have no response to, and what you'll do is you'll say, that's your fault. It's your schools. Who came up with the idea of funding schools? Through taxes. I wonder who did that. Whose idea was that? Who invented redlining? That was my idea too? Separate and unequal. Whose idea was that? Sharecropping. Convict leasing. Whose idea were these things? These horrible institutions and policies of the U.S. government. Who came up with these ideas? Oh, I know. You. Your people. And your government. So, anyway, it's not funny at all. What it is a slap in the fucking face. What kind of Lisa Rice was on here caping hard? Well, I think that she said something like, I want black kids to know, I want them to feel happy and comfortable in their blackness. And I want white kids not to feel bad about being white. You know what I want? It's nice that black kids don't think that they're ugly because they're black. But you know what I would rather for us to do? Be able to get a home loan at a decent rate. Condoleezza Rice, we don't give much of a fuck about what you think about us as far as if you think we're attractive. What we care about is that you work for an administration that didn't give a fuck about making sure that we had equality, equity in this country. That there was some form of parity between black and white when it came to home ownership and wealth. No one gives a fuck about what you think about us, about our hair. That is so far down the road of what people give a shit about. And I'm not here to make white kids hate being white. I want them to stop hating us for being black, and I want them to be the throw off the what they've learned from their bigoted ass parents before it takes root. That's all I want. That's all we want. That's the point. You condescending Jezebel. You lactose intolerant. When did black people become lactose intolerant? Mayonnaise eating motherfucker. And Condoleezza Rice, you don't get to choose, you don't get to use the fact. Here's something I hate, guys. Stop using the fact you grew up black in Birmingham as an excuse or as camouflage for you being a white supremacist black person. Those things can exist. Who's better to be a sellout to somebody who grew up in the segregated South? You had a lot of reasons to. Stop talking as if your parents growing up poor in Birmingham inoculate you for being a sellout. Because it doesn't. I'm so tired of hearing that. Well, I grew up in this way. Well, motherfucker, what'd you do last week? What'd you do 5 years ago? Stop telling me the way you grew up. Condoleezza Rice wasting our motherfucking time talking about how she grew up hard, so as if to try to build up this scapegoat, this gaslight bullshit, these straw man arguments, as if that makes her incapable of relating to poor black people. Like she's automatically relating to poor black people. No, you don't. Because if you did, you'd be talking about racial wealth gaps. You'd be talking about the fact that black women get a lot of degrees but don't get a lot of jobs, bitch. See, we don't care. So stop with this superficial nonsense. See, when you start holding these people accountable, when you hold them accountable, when you narrow them down, when you get them, when you start talking about real shit. See, nothing's more real. See, there are white people watching this show right now. Inheritance is an important thing. If you take away people, if you largely take away a people's opportunity to leave an inheritance for their children, you have killed them. You have sentenced them to a quiet life of misery. And we all know it. We all know it. If you're too young to understand that, you'll learn it soon enough. You don't get out of life alive without realizing it. You get my age, you know the fuck it is. We got a people who were largely incapable of creating legacy. And I'm not saying everyone, but if you don't get the GI Bill, and you don't get the FHA loans, and you get redlined, and you get shoved in ghettos, and you can't get home equity loans at a decent rate, and you cannot get SBA loans, okay? How can you build wealth to then pass on the inheritance to your children? But Condoleezza Rice doesn't talk about that. She talks about people's fucking feelings. I don't care how people feel. I care about how people do, okay? Because if you do better, you'll feel better, okay? Don't tell me you want me to feel good. You want my kids to feel good. I want my kids to live better. I want my kids to have something in the bank. I want them to be able to help their children. It's amazing. And we all know we want to be hugged and loved. And we want people to care about us and to feel empathy and warmth, comradeship, family. That's all great stuff. That's great stuff. Beautiful thing. But it would also help a whole fucking lot if we had a couple dollars to rub together, and if we had the ability to have investments in our communities and in our lives so that we could help our children live better lives. That's at the root of this. So it's just very disrespectful. And to hear people commentate on it, how the hell am I having the best commentary on this? Like, we got all these people who are paid all this money because you know what, Johnson? Because they're paid not to give you this quality, this level of a quality commentary on an important issue. They're paid not to tell you the real shit. They're paid to keep it superficial, to keep it nonsensical, all of them, to keep the water muddy. Look, you come to Timberlake Show, the water may be hot or the water may be cold, but you can see it's water. You can see through the water. You know what you're dealing with. These other shows, these fuckheads, their job is to muddy the waters and make it about something totally unrelated.